But then I thought Port lifted as well, and in the end we just sort of capitulated and just got bulldozed out of the way. So saw some signs early that we liked, and the response from our game last week in the first half of last week. But just at the moment, our capacity to maintain for 4 quarters is a fair way off.
Now, what would they lose their appetite to play contested footy?
Well, I mean, it's just the composition of our side at the moment. I mean, you're asking a lot of guys to do, to play hard into AFL footy, and some of them are just still trying to survive. But our demand needs to stay high, so that we do play that sort of contested footy for longer periods of time. And providing we keep our demands high and the standards high, that will eventually come.
Did it reach a point where a certain group of your players wanted to play outside of it to get that uncontested possession rather than actually working hard?
Well, not consciously, because what I saw early on in the game, the first quarter and a half, Michelangelo was at a level that I was really pleased with. Okay, so what we're seeing there is that our playing group can do it, and we've seen it in 3 games this year. But in 2 of those, we haven't been able to do it for long enough. Now, last week it was in the first quarter and a half, the first half. This week was probably the second half. So we just keep pushing hard, being demanding, asking for the level, showing the level when it's very good, showing them the level when it drops off, what it causes, and we'll get there.
For all the limits that you had because of your injuries, how do you reflect on selection now?
Oh, no.
Marriage if you're going to start him on the bench and ruck with Tippett?
Yeah, no, that's once again, I think we said at the press conference yesterday, these sort of games, you find out a lot about, you get more information about your players. Whether Ben Rutten, who I thought was exceptional, absolutely exceptional, to a range of other players who are trying to break into AFL football and how they cope with the demands of a really tough AFL game of showdown. So we just keep getting that information, and we'll keep making decisions on people.
But how do you reflect on the Marich one now?
Well, we just started Ivan on the bench just to get Kurt into the game, really. Just give him the first 5 or 6 minutes. What we need to look at is the combination of all our tools, and we've got Brad Moran and Sam Jacobs who are back playing again. So it's not just a matter of, it will be a combination, but also personnel as well.
Neil, this is a question phrase from some of the supporters on Talkback Radio who are ringing up saying the Crows don't have a plan B. What would be your response to supporters going home thinking that?
Plan B. I'm not sure what they mean by plan B. And what do you think they mean?
I'm suggesting the way they're talking that there's no alternative when things don't go as to plan as you would ideally like, maybe in the first quarter.
Yeah, well, I mean, I disagree. I think, I understand what supporters might think that. But we tried some different things. We tried some different positional changes. But in the end, we just got bulldozed, from a pretty powerful side.
How do you see the effectiveness of the Marich and Tippett match-up on Brogan?
In the ruck, not too bad. I thought aerial, though, we were poor. We expect a better standard just in aerial in general, around the ground. Far too many contested marks taken. So that's... we just need to address that pretty quickly with our big guys in particular, but not only our big guys, other players as well. So I thought we were well beaten in the air.
So what does it say of your work, or want to work, McKern and Tippett and Walker as a combination?
Yeah, well, that's something we need to look at. We've got 3 games in, didn't have that combination in the first game. So we just need to find out. We just need to keep looking at it, and we'll tinker with it. Kurt just needs to play more football. He's a bit better this week than what he was last week. So ideally he's a key forward for us, not necessarily a ruck. We're far from settled in that area.
If you were to look against selection for a running type, a hard edge type, who did you have left?
No one.
So that was it. You were at the limit for that.
Yeah, just at the moment. Now that could change next week. What was our interchange was Brad Moran, Chris Smith, and Jack Gunston. After that we're going to guys who are probably nowhere near ready for AFL. So, but that's okay. I mean, we can't do anything about that, Michelangelo. And until that.
Does it suggest that a few other players then need to step up when you're at that limit?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course we do. I mean, we'll put the demand, and you know, it comes a weight of numbers in the end. You know, of sharing the workload, and just at the moment, you know, we can do it for, you know, a short period of time, and do it at a very high standard, I might add. But then the capacity to keep going and keep maintaining it drops away, and that's when your senior players probably need more help, and that's why we need to be more demanding for those guys to keep their standards high, but be more demanding on the guys who are still trying to break into AFL football and get team security.
Neil, when Port could kick 12 out of 13 goals, you have an ability to stop that run. Is that personnel, or is it mental toughness that you referred to last week that wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just lost control of the contested ball in the end. The second half was I don't know, for the game it was -20, and probably most of that came from the second half. So as I said earlier in the interview, we just got bulldozed, you know, and we're just trying to plug holes all night. So you can't have that imbalance, and we had it last week for one quarter like that, and we saw the result. So we need to keep at it. We understand the importance of it.
Do you have to be a little bit more patient at this stage of the season until you get a full list back together again?
Oh yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean we drop our standards and what we're asking. So there'll be no way that's going to happen. Just, I mean, we need to be very demanding in that area. Otherwise, nothing happens. You know, it becomes, we'll just wait till we get some players back. No. We need to maximise this time to squeeze everything we can out of what we've got at the moment, so that, you know, this is not just a wasted period of time.
Neil, 4-6 to 3 behinds at quarter time. How costly were those
Yeah.
misses in the first quarter?
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, I have to go back and just look at the replays to know exactly which ones, but there were a couple there that we should have kicked, you know, and that can have a big effect on the game, on the mentality of the game, but you've got to be able to do it, and we weren't able to do it. But I mean, we were very dominant in the first quarter and a half, and still very much in it at half time, but as I said, bulldozed.
Is that about the stage, the showdown stage, do you think, missing those set shots? A couple of them were in.
No, I don't think. No.
Where's Tippett on his kicking for goal?
At the moment, he's struggling a bit. I mean, he's recovering from a bad ankle injury, and so whilst he can play on it, that's not totally healed yet. So he's not 100%. You know, we'll be able to do more work with him, and his timing will return once that starts to get better.
It's not just saying it's being bulldozed. There were times you were just so static, particularly when you just kept moving the ball from side to side.
Yeah, well, that's
Why did they lose their willingness to take the game on?
because when you get faced to that sort of the pressure that they're under, Michelangelo, I mean, the other things, your ball movement drop off. You know, and I can only use our first half and quarter and a half in particular to demonstrate, you know, the contrast of what happens. You know, when we're fiercely competitive and we're matching in that area, our ball movement's quick, it's crisp, it's going forward. When you lose this aspect of the game, and you lose power in your whole game, and so that's why it's so important. And we've got to be really strong in that area and keep it, because everything else is built around it. And then, of course, that's what you see. That's just, I'm afraid that's the way it is. That's what happens in a game. You lose the contested ball area. Not lose it. I mean, you can afford to lose it statistically, but you can't afford to be belted in it, because everything else is generated from it.
How did you assess your two debutants tonight?
I thought Luke Thompson was pretty good until he hurt his ankle, but he was able to continue on with it. And I thought Matty Wright, you know, got a chance. Didn't look out of it in terms of the standard. So both got a taste of it tonight.
How did you test Walker today? How did you test Walker before you made a decision to play him?
I tested him this morning. Yeah, just did a physical test down here with the medicos and the conditioning guys.
Sandling and Stevens back, or?
Scott Stevens would be a real chance. I'm not sure yet on Tamling, Steve. I don't think it's a bad ankle injury. So we'd like to think he'd be available. Mick Dowdy's back running, so hopefully he can make himself available as well. Phil Davis is a bit unknown. You know, it's not as bad as we thought, but it still could be another 1 or 2 weeks. So we've got hopefully some guys coming back to be available.